Can you hear my voice at all? Okay. I'm like completely new to this, so give me some give me some time. I gotta get the last of my stuff done because what happened was that it wasn't letting me stream to here, and I didn't even realize I needed virtual cam, so I had to get that downloaded and stuff. I've been so busy this week with work. I got slammed with shifts and stuff. I apologize for that. So I had no time to get it prepared, but I'm somewhat ready, and I will just probably have to improvise as I go. So I'm not sure if background music will work, but I will try to get it working. So I'm gonna play some background music while I'm presenting, just to helps me relax a little bit. So let me get that in there. Pretty fitting for the acting part. I have been doing acting for years. So I'm gonna give people a little bit more time to try to get in, and we can get started. And for the meantime, I want y'all in the chat to share exactly what you want to learn from this panel. And in just a few moments here, I'll get started and we'll just go from there. Okay, that's good. That's a good topic. I'm going to definitely cover that for you when you're in fursuit. So the VR chat thing, I'm not entirely experienced myself on VR chat, but I think I'll be able to help add some more character to your VR chat movement if that's what you're kind of looking for. So I can try to see if I can help you with that, and if not, with the technical side of VR chat, you can go speak with someone that's a little more adverse into that. And bringing your suit to life, that is going to be something I'm going to be talking about with this panel. So this entire panel, we plug it in. My microphone quality is really bad, so hold on. I think maybe because of like how bad my thing is. Hold on, how does that sound? Does that sound better? Bingo. Okay, so it looks like my volume was turned down. That wasn't really good. Alrighty. So is everyone ready for me to start? Because I'm can go ahead and get started with the panel, and we can just get a move on because I got about an hour to do this. Alrighty. So, welcome everybody. My name is Snowy Husky, and I will be giving you the panel of Lights, Camera, Action, a brief look into the world of acting. This entire panel is going to be giving you a brief introduction. It is not going to be going into anything into extreme depth. I'm just going to be touching the bare basics of everything in order for y'all to have a better understanding of how acting works and how you're able to apply it to your character performance. So this panel is good for anyone that is brand new into the whole acting world, whether it be fursuiting, cosplaying, or any professional gigs that you plan on working towards if you want to pursue acting as a possible career or side hobby. It's all up to you. And I really hope that I'm able to give you all some newfound knowledge on how acting works, and maybe you'll be able to introduce some new things into your character performance in the future. Veteran fursuiters are welcome to use some of this knowledge as well, because I've been getting my training from a local school, from a very very well-known actor in my area, at least, and he's done a lot of very good work for big theme parks, for local corporate chains. He's done a lot. He's done commercials for them. He's done commercials for like Publix, and which is a southern grocery store chain. He's done works for Universal Studios, for SeaWorld, and he also has, with this acting school, he takes in students and has about almost 1,000 booked gigs by his students all over the country because he has connections to agencies all over the country. For example, one of my classmates at the time when I was still attending this school, he was signed to an agency called the Diamond Agency, and that's a big agency in LA. And one of his very first gigs was his ability to do a commercial on Jimmy Fallon's new ride at Universal Studios with Jimmy Fallon himself. So he was on set working with Jimmy Fallon at the time, which was actually a really cool thing to pull off. And unfortunately, I wasn't given those opportunities due to my scheduling conflicts because of me starting my first job. And I was in the process of going through high school and dual enrollment. So I wasn't able to pursue those ventures. And that's okay. I have a lot more opportunities as I'm growing up, and I do plan to get a lot more professional gigs in the future. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty. So I want to go ahead and talk about acting as a whole. I want to be able to approach the definition of acting and give y'all a better insight on what acting really is. So that's the wrong one. Okay. So acting is living truthfully under the given imaginary circumstances. That's the official definition that my acting teacher has given me. Now, what does that exactly mean? What that means is that when you are playing a character in a scene, you are basically putting your own interpretation of how that character is supposed to perform in that scene. So you have to take your own personality traits, your behavior, and apply that to the character and use that character in the scene. And I think the biggest thing when it comes to that is being able to make some similarities and some differences between both yourself and the character, because you could be playing a character that is the complete polar opposite of your actual personality. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that's actually a really interesting challenge. Being able to switch to different types of characters on command is something that is a very strong trait to have in the acting industry. So try to strive for something like that as you're going through your acting teachings or classes. If you ever plan on taking classes, look up classes maybe in your area. I'm sure you'll have some acting classes in your area. So the next thing I want to talk about are the three main groups of acting that everyone's probably familiar with. For example, the first one, musical theater. Musical theater is something like Broadway, or maybe when you were a little kid in elementary school or middle school, you probably did like a school play at the time, and you had to do a lot of singing and stuff. Good examples of musical theater performances would be Hamilton, that just recently came out on Disney Plus. That is a musical theater production that was on Broadway. Cats is a musical theater production that was on Broadway, and it was formed into a movie, but we don't talk about the movie. And another good one would be Zombie Prom, which was actually a much more professional musical theater production that I participated in. And that was very interesting because it was a lot more rigorous compared to what I was used to. We had a lot more training, we had a lot more vocal lessons, we had to do a lot more memorizing the lines because we had much more bulkier scripts. Like for me to describe the script, I would say take the thickest Harry Potter book that in the series, and that would be, I think, about how thick the scripts would be. The scripts could be very big, but don't let that intimidate you, because I think the biggest thing people need to understand when it comes to the script is that it's just a basic structure. It's the idea of the scene. How the script is supposed to be written is how the scene's supposed to play out. So let's say you got two characters in the scene, and one of them has to owe the other person $20. There's a basic structure into that scene for how the $20 is even how the $20 even came in, and why he owes the other person the $20. And that's what's called the objective. The objective is what drives the character in the scene. Let me pull up the little scene right here, because every character in a scene has an objective. So in that scene, you have to know what is going to drive their objective. For example, a character has a backstory leading up to a moment in a scene, and with that backstory, you use that in order to better drive or motivate your character to be able to achieve what they are supposed to do in that moment. Because the moment is what matters. Nothing else matters than what is in the moment, what you need to do in that moment. That is what's the most important. So when you are coming up with any skits, when you are coming up with any stories for when you're writing, try to keep in mind of the objective that the character needs to achieve in that moment. And it will definitely help you out a lot more. Now, for the next acting type I'm going to cover is on-camera acting. On-camera acting is going to be, for example, commercials, TV shows, maybe some marketing, like the commercial channels or shopping channels. You got things from Disney. You got stuff from what else? Like reality shows. You got documentaries even. The documentaries are a little less of acting. There's not a whole lot of acting in it because they're based on true events or based on factual information. So not a whole lot of acting is into there. Maybe the presenters could be acting, maybe to like add some more exaggeration to an emotional part in a documentary, because a lot of documentaries tend to be either informal, emotional, or informational. I'm just trying to remember them exactly. My head is just drawing blanks as I'm going on. I apologize for that. And finally, one of my personal favorites, voiceover acting. Voiceover acting is what a lot of furries in the fandom tend to go for. And the reason why it's so popular is because, because furries have a whole lot of imaginary characters that they love to come up with, and they love to add voices to them. And having voices for their characters is such a fun and entertaining thing to do. That's why I try to come up with voices for my many different characters in my spare time, because I just love coming up with voices. And I even do voices when I'm at home. Sometimes I'll do them when I'm at work in like private, so I don't have guests looking at me just like, why is he talking like that? So, that's really cool, Lunar. I'm proud of you. That's awesome. I tried getting a acting gig for another visual, not for a visual novel. It was actually like a little cartoon series that this one group was planning on working on, and I submitted my bit, and I was unfortunately denied. And you'll get that a lot. I think with professional gigs is that you will tend to get denied a lot before you really land your first gig. And I'm going to delve more into how professional gigs work over the course of this panel, because I want to also give you all an insight on how professional gigs work, and like more for like more so auditions. See, Mirren, I wanted to get into voice acting when I was 16, when my voice was at my prime. I kept going through puberty, and my voice got even deeper, and so I lost it. So don't take puberty for your voice getting deeper as a bad thing. And mainly so why I say this is because you could get a lot more opportunities for having a deeper voice, because there will be some gigs where they require you to have a deep voice. Like if you have a very good moderate high voice, like moderate high medium voice, you can get gigs at that. But there are also some gigs, like a lot of more adult gigs as you get older, where they require you to have a deeper voice. So if you have a higher voice and you do a voiceover gig and you're voicing like a 30 to 40-year-old adult, and you sound like you're 16 years old, like you're in like your mid-teens, that will throw a lot of people off. So I wouldn't take it so much as a roadblock for you. I would take this as a step forward for maybe when you plan to get more acting gigs in the future, if you do plan on getting some more gigs. And yes, recruiters, when it comes to looking for voices, they do tend to find some videos of other videos that you've done, maybe that you posted online, and they listen to your voice. Sometimes a lot of recruiters, what they do is that you'll send in a demo reel. What a demo reel basically is that it's little snippets of all of the work that you've done, that you put into like your little portfolio. and a recruiter would listen to that and eventually boil it all down to what's the best one and then just take that. Because a lot of people send in demo reels, and the reality of how long someone listens to a demo reel is actually shocking. I believe demo reels can go from anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes, but at least 60% of recruiters stop listening to demo reels within 10 seconds of listening to it. So the demo reels is going to be a big factor when it comes to trying to get gigs, because that first 10 to 20 seconds is going to be crucial to hooking that recruiter in, because they're just going to lose interest immediately within the first 10 to 20 seconds. I can confirm when I chose a voice in an MMORPG, I can only handle so much of one voice. That will tend to happen. Sometimes your vocal range is not entirely strong for handling multiple characters. A good example of someone that's able to switch to voices on command, I would say, for example, Seth MacFarlane from Family Guy. He does at least 5 or 6 different characters in the show alone. I forgot the actor's name, but from regular show, he switches from Benson. He's the voice actor for Benson, Pops, and Muscle Man. And he switches to those on command. I actually saw a snippet from a Comic-Con he was a guest at, and he switched through all 3 voices within 10 seconds, and it was so amazing to see. I think that's a really cool skill to have in the acting industry, and that's something y'all could strive for. So back onto the panel topic. Voiceover is a popular furry option when it comes to acting in the fandom. So if you really like voiceover acting and you are a furry and you want to pursue acting gigs in the fandom, go for voiceover acting. On-camera acting is another good option that you could do, for example, like the skits and stuff that a lot of furries like to do and post online to YouTube. Or perhaps doing streams or doing YouTube videos in general. A lot of people can do acting with that, and that is a lot of fun to do as well. But try to put like a little bit of a limit to how far you do the acting with on YouTube, especially because you don't want to come off as if you're being, I don't want to say a fake, but I would say more being unrealistic. Like try not to over exaggerate your try to over exaggerate your emotions so much to where it gets obnoxious, but make it to where it's a little bit more noticeable, and the audience will actually kind of emotionally relate to how you felt in a YouTube video. For example, when you're doing gaming streams, if you're playing Minecraft, creeper comes behind and blows you up immediately and you just scream out of the blue. That is something your viewer will relate to. I think when it comes to streaming and video making, when you have reactions like that, you want to be able to appeal to your viewers' emotions, because that is what's going to reel them in. That's, well, at least one of the ways to reel them in. There's a lot of different factors that would come into reeling a viewer in, but we're not going to talk about that. Alrighty. So let's see. It appears I didn't have all my panels in for my streaming, so it looks like I'm going to be going to the point where I'm just going to be doing some improv. Ain't that something? On-camera acting, I want to go into a little bit more. So let me go ahead and switch to that scene right now. On-camera acting, a lot of it is going to be commercial ads that you would see on YouTube or on television, maybe on a billboard if you're in Times Square. You would also be seeing reality shows like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. You'll probably have some more drama shows. You also have some kid-friendly shows, like some shows from Disney Channel. I could name a good one. Good Luck Charlie is a good example of a kid-friendly show. Bizarre was a good example, and I believe Good Luck Charlie. Did I already say that? Yeah. Good Luck Charlie. Dog with the Blog. Yeah, I meant to say Dog with the Blog. I don't know why Good Luck Charlie came into my head when I was thinking of Dog with the Blog. Oh my god. I'm not a true Disney fan, y'all. Okay. So those are good examples of on-camera acting. Documentaries. For example, the Fandom documentary is another example of on-camera acting. But that's mainly just taking examples of fursuiters acting in the moment as they were recording. So those are the only real examples of acting that you could really see from those shots in the documentary. And maybe there'll be some shots where they'll have to prep up a little bit of an exaggeration as they're speaking to Ash Coyote, which was the director of the film. So as she's interviewing people, they're Ash is going to be asking them some questions, and maybe they'll be putting in a little bit of acting as they're answering the questions. And that is totally something that a lot of people like to do in their interviews. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And I'm also saying not exactly a good thing. With an interview, you want to be a little bit more serious. And a lot of on-camera acting tends to be serious. So if you feel like you can't be serious in the moment of being like in an interview, you can try to switch to a side of your head to where, okay, this is an acting and I got to be professional. I got to be serious. So then you're able to flip into your serious mode and be able to just answer the questions in a serious manner and taking it very seriously. Being able to flip between dramatic, emotional, serious, comedy, all those different vibrant emotions that could switch on command is a very good skill to have in the acting industry. Now, I also want to get into the professional side of things for the professional gigs. Auditions are going to utterly destroy you. What I mean is that for on-camera auditions, when you have to audition in person, you have the group of people that are in the room that are going through the auditions and stuff, and some auditions can be done within a couple minutes or maybe a couple of seconds if they just flunk that badly, or maybe they just get it immediately. You have such a bunch of opportunities with auditions that you will either expect or unexpect. And in that sense, I wouldn't want to say expect the unexpected because that's overthinking it. That is also going to be another big topic I want to cover. Don't overthink things in acting. Don't overthink things in acting. Why I'm saying this multiple times is because when you overthink things, you put a stress on yourself and on your acting as well. Try to maintain your cool when it comes to acting, because when someone throws a character at you and you're just like, okay, you're gonna be a greaser from the 80s. You got a motorcycle jacket, you drive a motorcycle, you got your hot girlfriend in the back with you, and you're going up to some surfers who are really messing up with you on your turf. Go. That's how an audition's gonna be. They're just gonna give you the character you're acting, and they're just gonna say go. Then you're not gonna have any other prompt other than that. And yes, that is going to be very scary, but that is going to be the reality of auditions. So a big thing with that is to prepare yourself for when you do those auditions. So now that we've covered the general aspect of acting, I want to get into the character performance, because that is what a lot of you are really interested in. Yeah, Lerner, it is horrifying. I'm telling you right now, if I had went through any of that stuff like a couple years ago, that would have spiraled me into a depression faster than you could say, wow. So I want to get into the character performance side of it. So I believe it was mentioned earlier in the chat that someone wanted to work on their fursuit performance not being so static. It was Skins the Hyena. So they wanted to learn how to be less static when I'm in fursuit. Body movement, body gestures. Your body movement is going to say a lot about your character. What I mean is that when you're being static in fursuit, that means you're not really doing much. You're kind of just walking normally, and you're just waving, and maybe like doing the occasional double waving and stuff. That's what I tend to see a lot, especially in my experience at Megaplex last year when I went to the convention. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But if you want to go for a more bigger approach, try to be a little bit more unique, add some character to your performance. Your character obviously has a personality. Your character has a backstory if you ever came up with it. Your character is probably your persona, so it's probably about you. And when people slip into their persona mindset, they switch up a lot about their personality. Like they try to take the personality of their persona, but your persona is supposed to reflect you. So sometimes people try to change into the personality of their persona, but not even be real with themselves. So let me kind of put it this way. When you're in your fursuit, over exaggerate your movements. Come up with your character's idle position, meaning how would they stand on a regular basis? They don't stand with their hands side by side. They would probably have maybe one arm up to like their cheek, maybe they have one arm across their chest, maybe they're slanted a little bit, maybe they like to be a little bit curved, maybe they like to have their head down, maybe they're hunched over. Come up with different forms of animations, I would like to say animation for the different parts of your character on how they would act, how they would move, how they would run, how they would talk to people, and how they would be idled. A lot of those things can help with making your first performance less static. And I think that's also going to help you with being more memorable. Being memorable is very important when it comes to acting. For the more general aspect of things, if you can pull off a performance in an audition where you are memorable, that is how you're going to get callbacks. That's how people are going to call you back, because they're like, oh yeah, I remember this person. Let's go ahead and call them back and go through the second round of auditions. And then in that chance, and in that moment, you'll have a better chance of getting the gig in that way. And so with character performance being memorable, it means that people are going to remember you whenever they see you online. So, for example, how Telephone is such a memorable fursuiter. That's because of her over-exaggerated movements and how she tends to be a lot more bigger, dramatic, and just making things be way more than what they seem. That is a good example of over exaggeration and being less static. Another good example, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of this suitor, but Beauty of the Bass is a good example. I've seen some of their newer performances where they would take two of their. It's more about the movements, Mirren. The voice is another thing that you could do with making your first sheet performance less static, but with the movements in your first sheet performance, that's going to be a big thing. Your body gestures and the body words, I guess. I'm trying to come. There's like a more official term, but I'm thinking body gestures, body movement, things like that is what's going to help make yourself more memorable. And yes, I love Beauty of the Bass. The reason being is because one of the performances I've seen of them in their suit is that they had another suit. They had another person with them in one of the suits that she made. And with them, they were chained up. They had like they were chained up to the neck and had two scientists holding them back. And they're saying, get back, dangerous beast coming through the crowd. And you could see them like really like showing off their ferocity as they're going through the convention floor. You see people reacting to that. That is a good example of how you're going to be remembered at a convention for that kind of acting right there. That's a good example of being memorable. Yes, movement can be seen across the convention floor when especially with fursuiters, movement can so easily be seen because of how vibrant your persona is going to stand out in a crowd. Your fursuits are painted in such vibrant colors that they're so easy to be spotted in the crowd. I could be on like the other side of the convention floor and see one of my favorite fursuiters from across the room, and that's a good thing to see. And if you are going to go into a convention with the mindset of, oh, I'm going to be seen almost everywhere, make yourself memorable. Come up with different animations for how your character is supposed to play out. All right, let's see. Nathan. A shtick. So I'm assuming that's like something that makes up their character. Is that what you mean? Because I think I know what you're talking about. Like a shtick is kind of like something that.
Hi, Nathan here. I forgot, since I'm moderator, I can join video real quick. But yeah.
Oh,
hello. Hello. A shtick, a sort of. Don't put your hand in the view.
I got stick bug.
Sort of gig. Like for me in suit, when I'm at cons, I'm known as the limey boy. Because pickup lines.
Oh my god!
Like I walk up to people and I have a lime in my hand. I drop it at their feet, and I'm like, "Oh no, my lime!" and they pick up the line like,
okay, I know exactly what you
line.
mean. Alrighty.
Like, and I know what is it? You have like Sky Cabot, who's kind of known for handing out bread. Or some other people for their weird shticks. Like we have telephone with the squeaking. That's one. Like we think telephone. Oh, squeaking. What's your thoughts on that?
So when it comes to having a shtick, that is a good way of being memorable. Just a heads up, can you probably disable the webcam? I can't hear myself think well with the thank you so much. It's hard to think when I hear an echo in the background. I'm so sorry. So when it comes to having your shtick in the performance, that will make you memorable. I think my thoughts on that, perfect idea. If people remember you because you like to throw around a lime all the time, perfect. If people remember you because you like to squeak all the time, perfect. That's how people remember you. Does that make your performance any better? Yes and no. Yes, because people will remember you for your performance, and no, because you have to be able to use the prop to your advantage for the character. So whenever you have a prop for like your shtick, for example, you have to use that prop to better the scene. Like, what is the prop going to do to contribute to the scene? What is the significance of the prop? So for you, that would be, what is the significance of the line? Like, why are you carrying around a line? What is what is the purpose of the line? It's a weird thing to say, but yes, what is the purpose of the line? So that's really what you want to think about when you try to come up with a shtick and you have a prop with you. Another thing I saw was I think I saw a video of Majira throwing blue shells at people. For him, I would say the drive of that was to probably just catch people off guard. And in my personal opinion, throwing things at people in soup, not really a good idea. I would not recommend it. So unless you really know the person and they're okay with you throwing things at them, then go ahead. But there are some people that are quite fragile, so you want to be very careful. Alrighty. So I want to go ahead and let me read this. Honestly, because dad joke energy and terrible, terrible, terrible puns. Okay, that's great. Okay, dad's in the house. Let's go. Alrighty. So I want to give a little bit of a example from my standpoint. I don't have a camera, unfortunately, because I'm in the process of getting a better computer. So I'm doing the best I can with what I have currently. So I want everyone to kind of stand up. If they're able to stand up, be able to stand up. If you can't stand up, that's totally fine. It's just a little bit of an exercise I want to give people an example of. So let's say that for this exercise that you are an elderly person that is trying to cross the street. How you normally would cross the street, I would be like, you're just walking over. Maybe you have your phone in your hand. If you have your phone in your hand, how dare you? You're supposed to be paying attention when you're going over the crosswalk. So you're just going through the crosswalk normally like a regular person. But now pretend you're an older person, but someone that would have like a cane maybe, and you maybe have like a hunchback. So then you'd probably be walking really slow. So you have the cane. You have the cane in like your right or left hand, and you're hunched over, and you're walking really slow, and you probably have the voice like, "Oh, I have to get over to the other side of this crosswalk. It's definitely gonna take me a while." I was like, "Oh man, look at this old man. We're behind this. Oh man, this is gonna suck, dude. I know, man. I'm sorry, there, you old whippersnappers. I can only do so much. 70 years old." So you know what so come up with a way on how you would be able to picture yourself of being an elderly person, being able to go across the side, going through a crosswalk at a stoplight, and see how your personality, what you think comes off your head, and try to act out that. So that's a good exercise that you can try to do. Maybe come up with some voices even. Like, what are some voices that you can come up with your character performance? With fursuiting, the voices could easily be drowned out because of how thick fursuit heads can be. And if anything, what you could do is that if you want to be able to be a little bit more vocal with your character, I believe I was talking to someone at Atlanta Comic Con last year. They had a mic that was like they put into their head, It was not like a fursuit though. It was like a Star Wars. I think it was like a Boba Fett or something cosplay they had. They had a mic installed into their headset, and there was like a little speaker that they had around their waist. And so when I said "nice cosplay," the speaker said, "Oh, thank you so much," and I was like, "Wait, what?" So if you want to be more vocal, try coming up with ways on how you can go over that obstacle. So having the microphone in your head and then having like a speaker that would be playing out and you're able to talk through that if you want to be more vocal like that, that would be a good idea that you can do. That was actually kind of fun. I also have arthritis, so I got the walk part down. Oh my god, arthritis sucks. Yo, my parents always tell me that like I don't have arthritis, but I'm telling you, I feel like I'm a 60-year-old man when I'm just going about doing my own thing. Like my bones are so brittle. The suit of JFET has one. Oh, that's cool. Oh, for character voices, Dungeons and Dragons for sure. Oh yes, the Scalies. Oh boy, snakes and dragon voices are so much fun to do. That's when you have to really rasp your voice, like, "Oh, so it would seem that he is coming to my cavern. Boys, let's go ahead and give him a warm welcome." Really what you want to do is that if you have a snake or a dragon character that comes up as really menacing, try to come up with a voice for how they would sound. Try to come up with an idle position. I would not be standing still and saying like, "Oh boys, he's wandered into our cave. Go give him a warm welcome." Is a lot better. It's a lot worse, actually. It's a lot worse. Don't say. Don't. What is a lot better is kind of hunching over a little bit, kind of having a little bit of a crafty little finger meddling gesture I'm doing with my hands, even though you can't really see it. Kind of giving a little menacing grin, little eye thingies. I don't know. Some eye contact. Eye contact with maybe your little henchman, and then coming up with the voice like, "All right, boys, let's go ahead and give him a warm welcome." That's a big difference. So try to do some of those for maybe an exercise. Try to come up with a character, like maybe you search up a random character that you like and do one of where you're not doing any acting at all and you're just speaking out like a line of his versus doing the actual animation of how he would be moving around and then doing the voice. That is a big difference, and you will love it. Hi, I'm a new fursuiter, and I'm kind of known before I got my fursuit, not because I have a trait, because I talk to people and I dance a lot. When I see people alone someplace, I tend to go there and try to get them out of their shells. Well, that is a very nice thing to do. I really appreciate that people are willing to do that. We don't have a whole lot of people that are willing to branch out and talk to people that maybe have a hard time with coping with social anxiety, for example. So that's a really good thing to do, and I appreciate that. My favorite is playing Old Wizards. Old Wizards! Oh my gosh, I love that one too. Old Wizards are amazing. One of my favorite games called Wizard 101. Y'all probably just like, Wizard 101? I haven't heard that since years ago. I'm like, haha, 2008. So one of the main characters, his name is Merle Ambrose. He's an old wizard. The most iconic line that I remember from him, he's like, "My vision seems to be failing me. Are you a boy or a girl?" It blows my mind. With voiceover acting too, you are welcome to take breaths, stutter even, do anything you want with your voice. You don't even have to just try to come up with an accent or try to up your pitch or anything like that. You can literally project your voice in many different ways to pull off the character. Definitely do that because you'll also make yourself really memorable. Like if you're a character like this stutters a lot, then people are going to remember you for your stutter, as well as your little animations. And like, are you really preppy and jumpy, energetic, having Starbucks coffee in your system almost every day, which is very unsafe for you? Or are you just kind of like dead inside constantly? Everything is a dark vortex of pain. I don't like talking to you. Leave me alone. Things like that will help with making yourself more memorable. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and say that this panel is pretty much going to be concluded here. But I'm going to take the last 15 minutes of my time to be able to answer any questions that you have, or if anyone has any ideas for what I could do in the future. I actually do want to say that for next time, I do plan to probably bring in my acting teacher for next year's panel, and maybe he'll be able to share some of his insight on the whole world of acting and be able to provide some more information, a more in-depth look into the world of acting. And he can also give you some information on his acting school. I believe it is currently accessible in any part of the country. I'll have to follow up with him. But as far as I know, his acting school is top notch, and I really, really loved working with him. All right, so let's go ahead and get some questions started, shall we? All right, I'm just going to go ahead and read off the chat. I'm so bad at accents. The character I voice is a warmer, more aristocratic version of my own voice. Accents aren't a big. Accents are something you could do with your voiceover acting, but if you're able to adjust your voice to where you don't need an accent and still pull off the voice, then I don't really think you need to do an accent, but you're welcome to maybe speak with the vocal trainer and see how you're able to work on accents, because I'm sure there should be a vocal trainer around in your area that will be able to help you with that. Do you know of any Hollywood celebrities who answer emails or questions from fans regarding acting advice? Unfortunately, no, because I don't have any contact with any. I don't really have any contact with anyone that would be able to provide me that information. I would have to go directly to my acting teacher, who probably would have that information, but I'm currently unsure. I would say some for Hollywood celebrities, because of how busy they are every day, it's kind of hard to really get some acting advice from them. So I would try to get some acting advice from some Hollywood actors that have picked up a couple gigs here and there that have a lot of experience of working in the industry, and I'm sure they'd be able to answer some questions. Another thing, getting in touch with some acting agencies would be a good idea if if there is something specific that they're looking for. Maybe you can try to see if you're able to fulfill that need that they're looking for. That would be a good thing to do. It just really depends on what you want to be known for in the acting industry, because you can only do so much as an actor. And what recruiters are looking for is that they want to look for people that are able to fulfill certain types of roles with the personality that they have, and be able to go off of that. You're welcome, Miriam. Glad to help. So I haven't decided on my character's voice yet. He's a split-color armadillo who is a full student, always has his tongue sticking out. My voice is kind of high, so it's hard to talk deeply while still being heard in suit. Okay, so with that in mind, I would like to understand a little bit more about his personality, maybe the kind of behavior that he has on a regular basis, and maybe I could be able to make a better suggestion for you on that if you want some help with getting a voice for your armadillo. I used to have a voice for my character, but I failed. What can I do? Just experiment with a bunch of different voices. Try coming up with some different high or low voices for your character. Add some inflection to your voices. Inflection is basically just kind of like adding some more emotion to your voice. So use some of that when it comes to trying to act out the voices for your character, and just kind of see what you come up with. Try to meet a middle ground, and then go from there, and then eventually you'll be able to find the voice for your character. Another thing you could do is that there are a lot of different snippets of voice clips from different characters and different shows that should be online. If you want to look up some of their voices, if you want some reference or some inspiration on how that works, you're welcome to do so. So you can go ahead and check those out if you ever need to. He's kind of goofy and likes playing with his tongue. Yours. Okay. No, not something like that. If you don't want to. If you don't want to sound like Goofy, you don't have to. But if you want to kind of be goofy, so let's see. So if he has kind of a kind of a high voice while still being heard in suit. I can kind of go up to like I can go pretty high up, I guess, with my voice. It's just like, wow, there's so much cool stuff here. I'm so excited. Mom, can I get the lollipop? Oh my god, Mom, I want the rainbow pony. Oh my god. So I can kind of go up with some high voices, which is really cool. But for your character specifically, for a goofy character with a voice that is kind of high and he likes playing with his tongue, you can do a lot of tongue smacking noises as you're speaking as you're speaking as the armadillo, because that will be a big thing that comes with trying to portray the character. And if you are kind of go for a high voice, he's kind of goofy, try throwing in some little laughing things, some like little laugh tracks, I guess you could say. Little laugh tracks, like really small little laugh tracks as you're talking. And when something really serious, I guess, happens, you can kind of like smirk or grin to make it seem like you don't really take it seriously if you're trying to be really goofy as a character. But for example, I would say yeah, he's totally looking stupid over there. I'm trying to come up with it. It's a little harder now because I'm like standing up and my head is killing me because of me sitting in the chair. So I'm trying to come up as I go. You can be a serious character too. Think about a story, comic book, animation, how your character is, and try to make it in real life. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. And for serious situations, for having a goofy character, yes, you can be serious if you want. But if your character is extremely goofy and like then it's like to the point where every serious situation kind of just seems like a joke to you. So that's the kind of stigma you want to go for with the character, if that makes any more sense. What else? When it comes to having the opposite of that character, so a character with a kind of high voice, it's kind of goofy and smacks his tongue around a lot, would be like the opposite of that would be character with a deep voice, takes everything pretty seriously, even jokes. And he has a relatively deep voice. And I would say something to be like, insults like that are not exactly very friendly. I think you should probably take that back. If you do that again, there's going to be some serious problems. I don't care. My character is a ringmaster full. Right? I think the ringmaster, that refers to like the kind of like the showman, like the host of like a circus, right? That's a ringmaster, I think. I have to double check on that. That's what I thought. So ringmasters, they tend to be they like to boom their voice a lot. They like to project a lot. So projecting would be making your voice louder to be heard from like the other side of a room or across the room. So try projecting your voice when you are being a ringmaster. So for example, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the show you've been waiting for. It's the Warner Brothers Circus. Try to go something up with that, like that. You want to kind of go for a little bit of like an announcer voice because the ringmasters tend to announce a lot. So, and now for our next act, the elephant dancing on the ball. Come on out, Stinkle. So the elephant comes out dancing on the ball, and the ringmaster makes a little comment like, "Look at our elephant go! Isn't she amazing? Stinkle, everyone!" So try to go up with projecting your voice, maybe like that. Yes, it is very nice. I like to do a lot of voices, even with my friends as well. I kind of hurt my vocal cords when I do it too much. So all right. Do I have any other questions in the audience? Do you play RPG? I play, yeah, I do. I play Wizard 101. That's really the only RPG I play right now because of the fact that my computer is kind of bad. So I should be able to play more games by like next week, but I have school next week, so that's not really good. But I also got to get my degrees because I got to make more cash. My computer is bad also. Yeah, I feel that. Like with me, when it comes to my when it comes to my life. I'm just like, get connected for free with Education Connection. I don't know if anyone remembered that ad. Oh my god, I love that ad. That was like my livelihood when I was little. I'm asking that because if you play RPG, you'll make it so well. Can we voice our questions? I don't know if you're able to do that. If you're able to actually voice your questions, then feel free. All right. Yeah, just you can go ahead and voice your questions if you're ever interested. And request in the queue. That ad was amazing. Hello. So what is your question?
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, okay, sweet. Hey, I'm trying to expand my personal character. I mentioned I was a voice actress for an upcoming visual novel called Corgi Night, and that
Coordinate. I love that name.
is adorable. Please look for it on. Okay, shameless plug. Fine, it's not mine. It is not mine. I'm just the voice actor. I do not own it.
It's all right.
But please find the blog for Corgi Night. And I'm playing a boar in that one, and I think I've got that down. My question is regarding one of my personal personas. I have 3, but I have a suit of 1. If you look at my whenever I respond in the chat, you can kind of see her in the
Yeah.
thing.
I've seen your seat around a couple of times.
Okay.
So what's the question?
I haven't seen it in like 6 months. It's lost in the mail, but hopefully she'll come back.
Oh my god, that sucks. I'm so sorry.
I think I declared her legally dead on July 1st, so I'm working with the maker
I'm so sorry
to make another one. But that's not my question. You obviously cannot control the USB.
I can't control it. No, but go ahead and tell me the question. What's up?
No, my question is I'm just trying to get a bit more acting, a bit more personality out from my character, but I'm not quite sure how to do that. I'm pretty shy. I definitely open up a lot more when I'm in suit, but I still it's mainly just me walking around and people say, so, hey, what's going on? Yeah, I talk in my regular voice, and I'm trying to find out a way to bring out the actual character I'm dressed up as. I guess as some, I could give you her fur affinity as well, and you could see on the ref sheet, a bit about her. But she is initially I made her the opposite of me, but now she's more just the extroverted side of me. She's a rocker. She's a singer in a band. She does computer stuff during the day. She's big drinker, big partier, marijuana user. I don't know if I can say that in a safer word or in a. Is that okay in one of these? I don't know if I can say marijuana, but
I don't think it's that bad.
Okay.
That's up to the moderator. So
sorry, Mod. I don't know where you are. But she's big partier. Just always, going out to bars, meeting people. She's more on the promiscuous side. I think that word's okay as long as I don't go any further. And I'm not a lot of those things. I'm not promiscuous. I'm not, I'm not an extroverted person. She's very much an extrovert. But for me, it depends on what situation I'm in. If I'm at work, I work from home now, but if I was actually in the office, this is my workspace right here. But no, normally I'm at work in a professional environment, and I'm not big of a talker there. But if I'm surrounded by nerd people, anime people, furry people, brony people, I am often a social butterfly, and I'm trying to take that and put it into Alice. I'm trying to get some tips on how should I show that? Should I just have more of a belligerent attitude when I talk to people? I want to come across as a bit more on the brash side, a bit more, again, belligerent, but not at the same time insulting to people, because she would be blunt. She would just tell you like it is. She has very little, if any, filter. That's what I'm trying to come across.
So you don't want to come off as belligerent. So you don't want to come off as belligerent, right?
Oh, so yeah. I don't know.
Okay, so for your character, because they're more on the party side, I would say try going a little bit more wild. Try to exaggerate your voice. So instead of like where a lot of party people like to do, a lot of party animals, that like be like, "Hey, what's up? How are you doing today, Marco? Like, how has it been? I haven't seen you since Tuesday. It's Saturday now, but like I haven't seen you since Tuesday. I can't believe you." But yeah, so try to be a little bit more on the wild side when it comes to coming up with the voice for your character, because party animals like to be very loud. They like to boom their voice a lot. So come up with things for that, for when you're projecting your voice. And for your body movement, for what's the gender of your character?
She's female.
Female.
Bisexual for orientation, but female. Whereas I am heterosexual, but still female. So
so if you want, you can look at some party scenes from some movies, maybe if you want, or look up and you can pick up. I've been
binging a bunch of horror movies, and some of them involve college students. And the first 20 minutes is drinking and partying, and at that point, I'm just hoping all those kids die in the movie. But I see your point.
But let's go back on the question though, on the answer, because I think the panel's about to end here soon.
Sorry, Mod.
Look up some references on how female partygoers act at parties.
Okay.
Pick up some of the things on that. Pick up on what's more comfortable for you and what fits your character.
Okay.
And take that and try to over exaggerate it a little bit more when you're walking around, and really make yourself kind of heard, because a party animal likes to be heard. They like to go on the wild side of things, like from Beastars, the wild side, things like that.
Okay.
So try doing things like that. All right.
All right. That sounds good. Thank you so much. Sorry, Mod. I'll go away now. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, so that concludes our panel. So thank you so much for coming out today. I really appreciate y'all's time. Thank you for tuning in for Megaplex Online. I really hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll probably be tuning in here and there, but this is going to be my official sign off. Thank you so much for joining me on my panel. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. My ad is Snowy Husky, but I'll go ahead and drop it in here. If anyone wants to reach me on Telegram, my Telegram is going to be Ember Rose, because that is my official art tag on Telegram. So be sure to reach me out on those platforms. I'd love to talk to you. And let me also go ahead and drop my Discord real quick, because I know a lot of people can chat with me there on Discord. I would love to chat with y'all if you have any more questions about anything. And if you guys ever have interest in attending the panel for next year, I will try to see if I can land a panel in person, and maybe get in touch with my acting teacher. Maybe we can go ahead and try seeing if we can talk about things in person there. So I really appreciate all this time. Thank you so much for coming out, and I will see you later. Have a good one.